In this video, we're going to be giving every fighter in Smash Ultimate introduced in Smash 4 brand new alternate costumes. If you've played any game in the series, you'll recognize that there are many palette swaps to choose from, with some that look completely strange on the fighter and some that look downright amazing. But the sad truth is, not every character gets a good treatment of alternate costumes. But that all changes today. We've already brought you alts for Smash 64, Melee, and Brawl, and now it's time for 3DS and Wii U. I took a bunch of your suggestions for this time around, so if you have any for the next episode, be sure to let me know in the comments below. And with that all being said, let's jump straight into our first character, Villager, the lovable protagonist of Animal Crossing, an addition that many thought was long overdue, but the phrase better late than never could have never screamed louder at this point in time. This is because he came with a really fun and unique moveset, and there are many new alt ideas that we could create here for a character like this, but before we create any new ones, I think it's best that we examine his current outfits to see what's referenced already, what still needs to be referenced, and to try not to duplicate many colors for some variety. First up, we have the default male Villager, who wears the red #1 shirt from City Folk. The first female alt has pink hair and the pink daisy shirt from Wild World as well. Next up, we have a male Villager wearing the Racer 6 shirt. Following that is a female alt with a green turnip top. Next is a dazed looking male Villager with a light blue tie-dye tee from City Folk. After this, a female Villager is wearing a rugby tee. Following that, we have a male Villager wearing a purple 4-ball tee. And last up, there's a female Villager wearing the yellow Bolero outfit. There's some nice outfits here with 4 different types of Villager renders when you account for the hair and gender differences, and we're going to be giving a new costume for each one, continuing with the theme. We're also going to be using similar alt inspirations to the current outfits and saving the animal Villager ones for a character like Isabelle in the next episode. The first male alt is going to be based on his appearance in Mario Kart 8. Now, most of us thought this year that Animal Crossing would pass it sales-wise, but Mario Kart just doesn't seem like it's going to die, so I guess this is still a more famous look for the character. On its own though, it's still a cool black outfit and it's unique compared to his current looks. For the female Villager, we might as well do the same inspiration, as it seems weird to include one without the other, and it does look slightly different than the current pink-haired one because of the nice dark red and white outfit. Following that, we're going to get a male outfit which takes inspiration from the retro style of the Villager. This is a memorable look of the character that was requested a lot in the comments of the last episode. And finally, the last female style is going to be based on the outfit and style of the main female Villager in the Animal Crossing New Horizons release date trailer. There are so many possible looks for the Villagers in this game, so we might as well base this off of one of the more famous promotional ones, and I feel it would be a crime if we didn't reference this title in some way. The next character was one of the craziest inclusions in Smash Bros. History, with this being Mega Man. I think the impact of this slides a little bit under the radar when looking back at it historically because of how early he was revealed in the build-up to Smash 4, but make no mistake about it, he's definitely a great addition. But did they make a mistake with his alternate costumes? Let's find out. Aside from his default, the first is an awesome red and white one based on various appearances of Mega Man using utility items in the series, such as Rush for example. Then we have a dark green one based on his use of the Hyper Bomb in the original Mega Man. It's been replicated numerous times in the series following this. The brown outfit resembles his look using the Metal Blade in Mega Man 2. The light blue one is similar to when he uses the Gemini Laser in Mega Man 3. The green and yellow one following this is based on when he uses the Slash Claw in Mega Man 7. Next we have an orange outfit resembling when he uses the Firestorm in the original Mega Man, and a variety of other appearances in the future. Last up we have the dark gray and yellow alt based on his look when using the Thunder Beam in the original Mega Man. So while I mainly talked about the first appearance of each outfit here, most of them do appear in many different games, so I feel they've done a good job overall of representing the series. So we're going to try to continue with this when making some new ones. The first new alt I'd like to add here is a pink and purple one based on the Rebound Striker colors in Mega Man 10, a unique look compared to his current ones. Following that, we'll have a white and black one with a hint of dark purple to reference the modern coloration of Dr. Wily, the main villain for the majority of the Mega Man series. Next up we have a blue and yellow one based on when Mega Man received the Napalm Bomb in Mega Man 5. I feel this one would be different from his current looks because all of his yellow alts he already has this gross faded color, and this one would be a lot more bright. And finally, we close this out with a pink alt based on the Bounce Man from Mega Man 11. Not only is this a more modern inspiration, but you gotta love the look of this pink, black, and white suit, man. Such a cool combination on the character. Next up, we have a really interesting character, I think is a good way to put it. Let's talk about Wii Fit Trainer's alternate costumes. We're gonna do this in pairs since the male and female versions both have the same inspirations for their alts. The first ones are blue based on the trainer's appearance in the original Wii Fit. The green outfits are based on the trainer's look in Wii Fit Plus and Wii Fit U. The red color is meant to resemble the aerobics category in Wii Fit. And finally, the yellow outfits resemble a look in the yoga training activity, but could also be thought to be based on the color of the balance games category. We're going to do 2 alts for the female and 2 alts for the male here just to keep with the theme, but I'm not going to keep doing the same inspiration for both, as contrary to popular belief, there's actually quite a few options at our disposal for references that I don't want to pass on. The first one's going to be an orange coloration based on the female Ring Fit Trainer. I could have given this to the male as well, although I feel the girl avatar is much more memorable, so here you go. For the next 2, we're going to extend outside the array of just Wii Fit to reference other Wii series games, such as the first male alt here where I'm giving him a black color scheme to reference Wii Chess. A pretty random game, but hey, at least it's a new color. For the next female Wii Fit Trainer, she's gonna get a pink outfit to reference Wii Party, which I think would be pretty cool. Again, these alts are pretty interchangeable between the two types. I tested the color scheme on both and I found this to be the best fit design wise. The last one here is a big one and it was one of my favorite suggested ideas, with this being an all dark blue alt based on the reckless safety notice guy from the Wii menus. This guy would always pop in to warn you of the dangers of getting too physically involved in your games to the point where you'd break something around you, and man, I'd love to see him break some opponents in Smash. Moving on to a fairly controversial addition at the time of their release, with this being Rosalina Luma of the Mario series. Looking at the situation now, many don't seem to have a big issue with the duo, but at the time of their reveal, many felt that they were undeserving, being overpushed by Nintendo, and were making the Mario series have too many unnecessary characters. But I personally don't mind them that much, and the fanbase's pain over this issue is healed with time, to the point where they don't really get much hate nowadays, but do their alts deserve some hate? Let's find out. We'll start with Rosalina and do Luma after, since Luma's alts change throughout the game and aren't selected in a main menu. They have no direct correlation with Rosalina's. Aside from the default look, the first gives Rosalina herself a pink outfit inspired by Princess Peach's look, a theme that kinda continues going forward. However, I've been able to draw some parallels to Material and Galaxy with some of them, so let's see. The golden outfit is one that Peach had as well, but it could also be based on the Power Stars and default Luma colors in Galaxy. The green outfit again is a clone of Peach's, but it could also be based on the green Power Stars. Up next with the red outfit, there's an interesting origin with it being based on Fire Rosalina from 3D World, but unfortunately the purple, black, and subsequent white outfits are just based on alts that Peach has. Now I've got to admit, most of these do look really nice on the character, although I'm disappointed in the fact that the alt origins may not be based on anything directly related to her. I get it, there isn't much source material, but I think we could do better than this. Let's try with some new ideas. The first idea I have here is a white dress with light blue and champagne colored accents and hair to resemble her appearance in the storybook in Super Mario Galaxy. This is a very important piece of lore for the character, so while we kinda reuse a color, I feel it's well worth it to get this in. Next up, we're gonna have a new rendered alt based on her biker outfit in Mario Kart. This is a much different look for the character, and since she's not in many mainline Mario games, we might as well give a frequent spin-off appearance of the character some inspiration. Next up, we're gonna get a darker purple alt with some blue accents based on Lubba, a prominent character in Galaxy 2 as he's the leader of the Lumas. This one is going to be quite different from her current purple getup to justify it. And finally, a really cool idea I have here is one based on Cosmic Spirit Rosalina. This is the Super Guide equivalent in Mario Galaxy, with her appearing when Mario loses too many lives in a level, and her appearance is absolutely amazing. If you recall all the way back to the first episode of this series, we gave Mario a Cosmic Clone outfit, so we might as well complete this duality with this alt. And let's not forget about this little guy, Luma. He has 6 forms in the game, always starting battle in this yellow one, and after Rosalina loses him, he could possibly turn into the red, green, and blue colorations, which are common ones to see throughout Galaxy. He could also turn into the apricot colors based on Baby Luma, and finally a black look based on Polari from the game. Even though we only have 6 of them, I'll still make 4 new Luma looks anyways, because why not? First up, we're gonna get an orange coloration being based on the Co-Star Luma from Galaxy 2. Then I mean, if we're gonna give Rosalina a dark purple and blue alt, we might as well give Luma an alt based on Lubba as well. Following this, we're gonna get a darker reddish purple-pink combination with red eyes based on Comet Tico. And finally, we'll get a lighter blue one based on Lumali. These last two are both similar versions of the Hungry Lumas, which I decided to exclude because of the very similar coloration to the current apricot one. Moving on to the first assist trophy to make it as a playable character in Smash, with this being Little Mac. He started out with 16 alts in Smash 4, but they took him down to 8 for Ultimate. But did they keep the good ones? Let's find out. Aside from the default, the first one is based on his appearance in Punch-Out Wii's Title Defense mode. Next is a light gray alt, which resembles his sprite after defeating an opponent in the 1987 Punch-Out. The blue one with red gloves is based on his look when fighting in the World Circuit in Punch-Out Wii. Next, we have one based on his appearance in Super Punch-Out. Following that is an iconic pink hoodie which Little Mac wears in training montages throughout the Punch-Out series. Then we have a wireframe design based on the original arcade Punch-Out. And finally, there's a green hoodie alt with pink gloves that's meant to be an inversion of the pink hoodie design, with the wireframe design also being incorporated. There are a few memorable looks here, so let's try and craft some new ones. First up, we're going to get a black and purple alt based on the coloration of Soda Popinski's outfit in Punch-Out Wii. This guy's a pretty memorable opponent from the game. Our next one is going to be mostly white with red accents based on the look of Glass Joe from the series, who's notoriously the classic easy character to beat in the game. Following that, we're going to get an interesting one here, with it being orange with white gloves based on Matt's outfit in Wii Sports Boxing. This one's going to have a lot of you that love it and a lot that hate it, but man, Matt is such a memorable character for being challenging in this mode that I feel it'd be such a funny reference. It also uses a unique color combination. And finally, we're going to get a wireframe alt with this using the yellow outfit and orange gloves gloves based on this Player 2 appearance in Punch-Out Wii. I feel this is a good reference and we've at least got to have one wireframe in here, it wouldn't be right. Next up we have what modern polls will tell you is the most popular Pokemon in Japan, with this being Greninja. It's no surprise that he got into Smash, but as we've seen with many of the Pokemon, the ults don't seem to live up to the hype. Let's find out. Aside from the default, the first is a mostly red ult, which could be an original, but maybe, just maybe, it's based on Crawdaunt, as if you compare the two, the colors are pretty similar, and Crawdaunt actually shares the same typing as Greninja, being water dark. I actually really like the pink ult up next, which is either an original or somewhat based on Lickitung and Licky Licky, as it's a popular Pokemon with its tongue as a prominent design component. The black one that follows this seems to take inspiration from Greninja's Shiny, but it's definitely not completely accurate with some notable changes from the original. The purple and green one that follows this may be an original, but it could also be based on the purple Kecleon from the Mystery Dungeon games, another Pokemon that specializes in disguising, which features its tongue prominently like Greninja. The green one after this is likely based on Politoed, another water-type frog Pokemon, makes a lot of sense. The cool-looking light gray one after this is likely an original, but it could maybe be a reference to Froakie's light blue shiny coloration. The final ult, if it's based on anything at all, is inspired by a Shelder, another water-type Pokemon with its tongue sticking out. So yeah, Greninja does have some nice-looking ults, and if a lot of these were intentional and not just mindless stretches at inspirations, I'd say they did a much better job with him as compared to the previous Pokemon. But there are definitely some more ult ideas that I have here. Our first new ult is going to be based on another frog Pokemon, with this being Toxicroak. While there's no doubt that its pre-evolution Croagunk is significantly more popular, I feel the color scheme would be a lot more unique if Toxicroak was used instead, with its colors mainly being based on the anime counterpart. Following that, we're going to give Greninja his proper shiny coloration, with the character becoming almost all black with the red tongue. Again, they might have tried to reference this already, but if they did, they've failed, plain and simple. Next up, we'll get a white, beige, and green ult based on the colors of Chestnut, another one of the Kalos starter Pokemon. This would be a different type of coloration that I think would still work. And finally, we'll reference the final Gen 6 starter with a red, orange, and yellow ult based on Delphox. These colors haven't been used to their fullest extent on Greninja so far, so I feel that this improves in that regard. Next up, we're moving on to the Miis. Yep, here they are. These guys are the quintessential characters when you want to look for alternate costumes. They all have so many that I obviously can't go over all of them here, so instead of palette swaps like the rest of the characters, I'll go over 4 new Mii costumes that I'd like to see for each of the 3 types. First up, we have the Mii Brawler, and the first outfit I'd like to see is a white karate outfit based on Karate Joe from Rhythm Heaven. He was rumored at times to get in as a fighter, and I know that fans of the series would enjoy seeing this. Next, we could get one based on the Mii Boxer outfit from Wii Sports, a funny reference to something that's actually Mii related, unlike many of the ults that he currently has. And next up, we're going to use this spot to only pick one outfit here based on the Team Galactic ones from Pokemon, just like the ones that they gave to Team Rocket, but in reality I'd love for a lot more of them to get included. I just chose Galactic though because of those Diamond and Pearl remakes. And last up, this one's going to be pretty random, but it's a Mii costume based on Midbis from Mario and Luigi, Bowser's Inside Story, which would be pretty cool. If Bowser was to get an Echo Fight art, he's probably not even the most likely choice for that, so why not give him this role instead? Let's move on to the Mii Swords Fighter. The first Mii costume I'd like to see is one based on the Masked Man from Mother 3. Not only is this outfit unique, but his beam sword could just transition so perfectly in my opinion. Following that, we could get an outfit based on Tetu from Ever Oasis. This is a smaller series that Nintendo has kind of been trying to push, and I feel this guy would be a pretty seamless transition into the sword role. Next up, I think one based on Hollow Knight would be pretty cool too. I'm trying to stray away from the ones who are likely newcomers here or have a ton of requests, and while he's definitely possible in that regard, he does have some full moveset potential. I think most of the fanbase would agree that he's much more likely as a Mii costume role if anything, especially if guys like Sans and Cuphead got that treatment. Last up, we could get one based on Azura from Fire Emblem Fates. She has a large staff and a nice colored outfit, and as a character who almost definitely won't be filling a playable role with just how much Fire Emblem controversy there currently is, why not a Mii costume? And now we move on to the final Mii form. And the first one I'd like for the Legend of Zelda series is based on Vati, a boss from the Minish Cap and Four Swords games who would use some magic and ranged attacks which would fit well with the blaster concept. Next up, we're gonna have one based on Lord Frederick from Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. He's got a memorable look, and being the villain from the most recent main Donkey Kong experience, it makes sense to include him in a role like this. And following that, we're gonna get one based on the Octolings from Splatoon. We already have a couple of Splatoon ones, but there could be a couple of different weapons represented here, and if they're not gonna be fighters, at least give their outfit a Mii costume. It could be based on the Splatoon 3 design as well. And finally, we're gonna get one based on Kamek, one of the most memorable Mario villains who appears in many games as a standard Magikoopa enemy as well, and I feel this magic wand would transition perfectly into a blaster weapon concept like this. Moving on to the Goddess of Light, being Palutena from Kid Icarus. Let's see what they've got for her in the ults department. Her default look actually isn't based on her original appearance, but instead based on her Uprising design, which itself was her design in Brawl. It's the pink one that follows this, which was based on her original sprite in Kid Icarus. Next up, we have a light blue and purple dress which resembles the concept art for her in the original Kid Icarus. The green alt which follows this is based on artwork from Palutena in the instruction manual of the game. Up next, we're gonna have a dark blue alt which resembles Pandora from Uprising. Then there's a nice nice looking red outfit based on Viridi's coloration. Following that we'll have a black alt based on Dark Pit, and the last dress is based on Medusa, the parallel counterpart to Palutena. There's some nice looks here, and the first new one we're going to include is a light blue and white alt based on Phosphor, a boss in Kid Icarus Uprising who has some funny interactions with Palu to say the least. It's mainly here for the coloration though. Following this, we're going to have a golden yellow alt based on the armor of the Centurions, the loyal soldiers to Palutena in the game. Next up, we're going to get a Piran alt. He's the self-proclaimed sun god in Uprising, and giving Palutena an orange and red coloration like this would be pretty cool. And finally, we're going to get a look based on False Palutena, one of the bosses in Uprising. We're going to give her purple skin to resemble this look, and it would definitely be a unique alt for the character to say the least. More Kid Icarus up next as we're moving on to Pit's Echo Fighter, with this being Dark Pit. Does he improve upon the original in the alt department though? Let's find out. His default look is based on his Kid Icarus appearance, which in turn was inspired by Pit's Fallen Angel alt from Brawl. The green alt that follows this is an original. The black and red coloration that follows this is based on Magnus from Uprising. The following three designs, being the yellow, red and silver, and light blue ones, are all Smash originals. I do at least like them though. The silver alt that follows this seems to be based on Pit's default look, an expected alt for an Echo Fighter. And the final costume, which is predominantly purple, is based on the Eggplant Wizard from Kid Icarus. Interesting looks, but not all have a specific inspiration, so we'll make sure to do that for each of the new ones, starting off with a Hades alt. This is the main antagonist from Uprising and was by far the most requested alt that I had for Dark Pit in the comments. Purple, red, orange, all the iconic colors of Hades would be incorporated here, even in the skin tone, to make it accurate. Next up, we're going to get one based on Pandora. I gave a similar costume to Pit in the previous episode, and I think it makes even more sense for Dark Pit considering the relationship that the characters have. I just can't get enough of this color combination too. Next up is a fairly obscure one, but we're going to get an alt based on the Dark Fighter from the game. The fighters are characters who only appear in the Together mode, and since this is Dark Pit, I thought the Dark Fighter would be appropriate. I also love the color scheme, which just pushed this over the edge. We're gonna close this out with a Viridi alt. Y'all know the deal with her. She's a prominent character in the game and the Kid Icarus stage in Smash Brothers, and the red, purple, black, and light blonde hair would be a unique look. Moving on to one of the big reasons that I wanted to make this series in the first place, with this character being Pac-Man. And wow, he's certainly a character who's often critiqued for his poor selection of alts, but is it really that deserved? Let's find out. First of all, the decision was made to make all of his alts based on his appearance in the Pac-Land and Pac-Man World games, which was fairly controversial in and of itself. The first variant of this has light blue highlights on the wristbands based on the palette of the Wing Shoe power-up in Pac-Land. The yellow and black alts that follow this appear to be originals. The alt with the pinkish purple wristbands may be based on Pinky, one of the original Pac-Man ghosts. The white alts also may be based on the Wing Shoe power-up, but this could just as easily be an original. Next up, we have an alt with red highlights resembling Blinky's color scheme. And finally, there's an alt giving Pac-Man oven mitts and plaid boots, which honestly just seems to be an original for as random as it seems. So yeah, suffice to say that it's actually just as bad, if not worse, than the criticism that the alts have already been receiving, with a majority being originals and not even good ones at that. Let's create some new ones. Now, what many would immediately jump to here is using the 4 ghosts as alts, and yes, these are obvious picks that should have been in the game already, I'm not disputing that, but I'd at least like to share a bit of creativity here just to show the increased potential for a character like this. My job here is to add to what we have, not start over. We will make 2 of these ghost alts though, with the first being Inky, the light blue ghost, and following this we'll get an orange one based on Clyde, an unpredictable ghost from the game. Now yes, we could easily get all 4 included here, but if we give them the benefit of the doubt and baselessly assume that the pink and red wristband alts are indeed based on the other 2, then I'll let it slide for this video. Following this, we're going to get an alt based on Miss Pac-Man. This was a very highly requested one in the comments, and for good reason. It makes a ton of sense, although there's apparently legal issues there, so maybe it's not that realistic at this time, despite how much it should be in theory. And finally, a more unique look here is going to be based on the blue ghosts that appear when Pac-Man eats a power pellet. It makes a lot of sense to include this as a unique costume. These are the types that I usually expect to make for videos like this, not the ones like the first 3 that should have been in here to start. A very similar disappointing situation to Sonic from the previous Brawl episode. Moving on to Lucina, one of the most popular characters in the Fire Emblem series. She certainly earned a reputation for pretty much just being a female Marth in the game, but as we'll see coming up, her current selection of alternate costumes deviates a lot from her character of inspiration. Aside from the default, the first green coloration is based on Naui, a playable character in Awakening who is over 1,000 years old. Yep. Next we have a nice silver and black alt based on Shersh from Awakening. Then there's a predominantly red alt based on Cordelia. Then we have a green and red alt based on Tiki with the cape resembling Naga slightly. Following that we'll have a yellow alt based on Lissa, another prominent character from the game. The black alt up next is based on Tharja, a character who I'm sure you know for her great personality and character traits, right? And last but not least, there's a Sumia alt, the canonical mother to Lucina. Overall, I think they did a great job with her from both an inspiration and design perspective, and when we eventually get to ranking these at some point when it's all said and done, she's definitely gonna be near the top for sure. So let's see if we can keep up with the high standards set. Continuing on with the theme of basing her design off of other female characters from Awakening, my first idea is based on Olivia from the game. This will give her mostly white armor with pink hair, a nice look for her. Pulling down, we're gonna get one based on Noir, Tharge's daughter, which kinda goes along with Lucina's daughter theme. This one gives her black hair and a green and brown outfit. Next up we'll have one based on Aversa. I love her character design, and giving Lucina the black outfit, white hair, skin tone change along with the purple accents can make this a really nice looking and unique alt. Definitely good to get an antagonist in there too. And finally we'll break the theme here and get one based off of Lucina's resplendent outfit colors in Fire Emblem Heroes. It'll have a nice blue, pink, and white color scheme. And next up we have another character from Awakening, with this being the protagonist of the game, the magic user Robin, who has alts split between 4 male and 4 female forms. Aside from the first 2 default looks, the first male one is based on the overworld sprite of Mark, the customizable tactician from Fire Emblem the Blazing Blade. A pretty random reference, but okay. Robin's red outfit is based on Anna, a frequently recurring character in the series, although her hair no longer resembles her as it did in the Smash 4 version of the alt. The male blue outfit is based on Inigo from Awakening. The yellow female outfit is based on Ivil, a character from Fire Emblem 3 CS776, another pretty weird choice. The white alt up next is pretty interesting, as it may actually be based on the White Mage from Final Fantasy, a Square Enix franchise, and it may take some inspiration from the Summoner in Fire Emblem Heroes as well. And finally, the pink alt is based on Sarah from the Blazing Blade, an interesting look. So yeah, there's a few nice looks here with some pretty random inspirations, so let's craft some new ones. First up on the male side of things, we're gonna get a Grima alt. The menacing dragon is the main antagonist of Fire Emblem Awakening, and we're gonna give Robin the black, gold, and red colors of the character, making for a cool look to start us off. Following that, we're gonna get a red herd alt for female Robin, which is to be based on the enemy units of the series. Many of the Fire Emblem protagonists in Smash get alternate costume looks like this, and it also finally gives us an opportunity to get the real Red Robin back, which I know many missed. Following that is a male alt, which is going to get the coloration of Chrom with the darker blue, white, and gold color scheme that makes Chrom iconic. He's the other main character of Awakening and the partner to Robin, so it makes a ton of sense. And finally, for the last female alt, we're going to give an inspiration to Robin based on Lyn, one of the most popular protagonists in the series. Since some of the existing alts already take inspiration from characters within other entries, not just Awakening, I don't see why we shouldn't add this one with green hair and a blue outfit. Moving on to the protagonist of the original Final Fantasy, Xenoblade, with this being Shulk. Yeah, they're pretty much the same thing, right? This guy is now the proud first of 2, well, technically 3 representatives, I suppose, for Xenoblade in the series, which is great to see. Let's get into the alt department, and aside from the default, the first one is based on Mecha Fiora. Kind of a spoiler, but okay, whatever. The game's a decade old, guys. Calm down. Next up, we have an alt based on Dunban from the game. Then it's Rain Time with the orange outfit that follows this. Following that, we're gonna have an alt based on Charla, another character from the game. The lavender alt that follows this resembles Melia from the game. Gotta love the next alt when Ricky is the character of inspiration this time around. And finally we have this one. It's based on Shulk's swimsuit armor set in Xenoblade, definitely unique to say the least. Our first new outfit is going to be a new rendered version based on his Future Connected outfit, a slightly different modern look for him that many in the community prefer, and it was highly requested in the comments of the previous episode. Following that, the remaining 3 are going to have a collective theme, with the first one being based on Cosmos, the most memorable character from Xenosaga. This franchise preluded Xenoblade Chronicles. The color scheme of this would be really cool for Shulk with the lavender hair, white, and black outfit. Next up, we're going to get an Elma alt. Xenoblade fans should see where this is going now. She's one of the main characters in Xenoblade Chronicles X, one of the few games from the Wii U that surprisingly doesn't have a Switch port yet, and this is going to give Shulk white hair with a white, red, and black outfit. Last up, we're going to get one based on Rex, the protagonist of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. The game just got representatives, and unfortunately for his fans, he wasn't part of the role, but we're still going to reference him as an alt at least. This is going to give Shulk brown hair, and the predominantly blue outfit is going to be used here. Moving on to one who many had questions about as far back as the first episode of this series. Let's talk about Bowser Jr. So a nice idea they had with him was using the clown car, allowing for different Koopalings to be included as palette swaps, so these being Larry, Roy, Wendy, Iggy, Morton Koopa Jr., Lemmy, and finally Ludwig, who I'll be honest, I had no idea was actually pronounced like that until their Smash appearance. Now you'd think this order means something, and it was almost done right, as if Roy and Morton were swapped, this would be the exact order that the Koopalings were fought in Mario 3, but alas, we can't have nice things, and my number one hope for Smash 6 is that this order is going to be fixed. So when it comes to creating some new alternate costumes, we have a couple of options that I weighed in my head. There's no other Koopalings, so since Bowser Jr. is the main fighter, we could theoretically give only him 4 new alts, but I don't think that makes much sense. We could give every one of these guys 4 alts, but I don't know if I'm mentally prepared for that, and maybe we'll have to save that for a special bonus episode if enough of you want to see it in the future. Let me know in the comments. I think the best case here is to pick 4 other characters to insert into the clown car. Let's get into it. The first one that I think most would agree that should be included here is definitely Boom Boom. He was one of the earliest mini-bosses in this vein, appearing in Mario 3, and has made a major comeback in that role in recent years. To go along with this, we'll make a Pom Pom alt as well. She's not essential to include, but since they're basically a pair nowadays in almost everything, well, not Super Mario Party apparently, I feel it still would be weird to leave her out. Following that, we're going to mark the return of the Koopa Kid. Oh yeah. For those of you who remember, these characters actually preceded Bowser Jr. in Mario history, mainly being included in the party games, and including them as an alt in this vein would be a great nostalgic reference. And finally, we're going to get one with the Shy Guy being included here. This seems a little weird considering that it definitely doesn't go along well with the other ideas thematically, but after I did some research for this video, Shy Guy actually appears in the clown card quite a few times. A lot more than the previous 3 ideas that I gave here, I tell you that. Again, there are a lot of possibilities here, but I feel this one works really well. Next up, we have a retro character, with this being Duck Hunt. Let's see what they gave him for a selection of alternate costumes. After the default, we see a black coloration, which could be based on a Rottweiler, with the duck being based on the Swedish blue duck. This pattern of being based on real life animals is going to continue for the rest of the alts. Next up, we have an alt where the dog is based on an American Pit Bull Terrier, and the duck resembles a common portrait. The alt that follows this has the dog based on a chocolate Labrador Retriever, yes, that's the actual name, and the duck is based on a silver Appleyard. Following that, we have an iconic Dalmatian alt, and the duck is based on the East Indie duck. After this, we have a tanned alt, which is based on the Shiba Inu for the dog, and the duck is based on the female blue-headed mallard duck. Then we're gonna have a yellow alt with the duck's look resembling a yellow Labrador Retriever, and the duck's alt being based on the ale mallard duck, with this being one of the common types of ducks that can appear in the original Duck Hunt. And last but not least, there's an alt where the dog's colors are based on the black Labrador Retriever, and the duck is based on the third possible duck from Duck Hunt. Overall, these colors could also be a reference to Banjo and Kazooie, since the colors match up pretty well, and it was referenced in their classic mode route as well, which is pretty cool. So we could theoretically continue going along with the real life dog and duck theme, but I think it would be much more interesting to give some originals and Nintendo based costumes to change it up a bit. Starting with the latter, we're going to get an alt based on the coloration of the standard Nintendog as they appear in the stage of the same name in Smash Bros. Not only is this a new color, but the reference is actually pretty important. The duck will have the green color of the text on the game's box art, but realistically it could be anything. Following this, a pretty cool idea would be basing them off of Snoopy and Woodstock. This obviously isn't a Nintendo reference, but it might be the most famous duo of dog and bird in media, and the white and black color of the dog I think would be designed different enough from the current one to justify it. Now there isn't any red duck on coloration, so how about one based on Clifford the Big Red Dog, a famous comic strip that's been around since the 1960s, and the duck could be pink based on the original companion character to Clifford being Emily. Again, this is pretty random, but I feel a character that has very little source material like this we could play around with here. And finally, we're gonna get a Pokemon based costume here with the dog gaining the colors of Herdier, a beige and dark blue colored dog Pokemon, and Ducklet for the duck. Pretty self-explanatory. There were lots of dog options, but I ultimately decided on Herdier to have the Gen 5 combination of the two Pokemon just for a slight bit of consistency. Let's move on to the first newcomer that appeared as Smash 4 DLC, with this being Ryu. He was a major addition, but were his alts great, or were they a major disappointment? Aside from his default, the gray look is based on his strong punch palette in Street Fighter 2 Turbo. The light blue one up next is based on the fierce punch palette in Turbo. The black one is based on the light punch color from the same game. Following that, we have an orange outfit which resembles the light kick color from Turbo. The next alt is blue and based on his forward kick palette from Turbo. The greenish yellow alt up next is based on the start kick palette from, you guessed it, Street Fighter 2 Turbo. But the last one isn't, with the purple alt being based on Ryu's 10th color from Street Fighter 5. There are a couple of nice alts here, but most are pretty mid overall, with nearly all of the origins coming from one entry in the series. There's still a lot to be desired for a character of this magnitude. For the first one, we're gonna get a costume based on Gaia, one of the fighters in the Street Fighter series who first appeared in Street Fighter 2 and actually appears as an assist trophy in Ultimate as well. Next up, we're gonna get one based on Evil Ryu, a villain from the series, giving him a darker blue color scheme, which isn't one that's included yet. And since this form appears in the alpha games, might as well give Ryu his alpha design as well. This would be a brighter white one with some of the other minor design changes from the default. And finally, we're gonna get one based on Yuri, whose first appearance came in Super Street Fighter 4. The pink and black color scheme I think would definitely be funny to see on a character like Ryu, so that's a big reason why I picked this one here. Moving on to one of the most surprising inclusions in Smash Bros. History, with this being Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy VII. This one was crazy, but I haven't seen too many fans be crazy about his alternate costumes. Let's investigate it. His default look is based on his appearance in Final Fantasy VII. There are 4 alts based on this, with 4 also being based on his look in his Advent Children movie. After this, we have a standard outfit with the blue tint being based on the 3rd class soldier uniform in Final Fantasy VII. The Advent blue alt is based on the 3rd class soldier from Crisis Core. The standard style now gets a red tinted outfit resembling the 2nd class soldier. Next up, we have an Advent black outfit resembling Cloud's appearance after his fight with Bahamut Sin. We have a standard brown outfit now that resembles his 1st class soldier uniform from Crisis Core. And finally, there's an Advent purple outfit based on the 1st class outfit from the original Final Fantasy VII. So there's some decent inspirations here, but I think the main problem just comes from the design not changing much, which is ultimately what you really want to see from alternate costumes. We're going to try to give Cloud some standouts here. The first first one is going to be a white outfit based on the colors of Tifa, a very popular character from Final Fantasy VII. This one gives Cloud a mostly white outfit, which would be very unique compared to his current selection. Following that, we're going to get a red and navy colored outfit based on his appearance in Kingdom Hearts. This was very highly requested, but I decided to go with a color swap rather than a new rendered version just to maintain the two costume type theme. Next up, we're going to have another black alt, this time with black hair though, based on Zack Fair. This is an important reference to have that many would argue is in already, but it's definitely not entirely pronounced if it is. The hair change is going to be the main standout for this. And last up, we're going to represent the second Final Fantasy character included in the game, with this being Sephiroth. The main villain from the game now gets a playable role, and his silver hair and accents make for some uniqueness. Moving on to the first character that I'd say started up the whole Fire Emblem controversy in the roster, with this being Corrin, the protagonist of Fire Emblem Fates. While I was personally excited for her upon the reveal, that was definitely not a universally shared opinion. But maybe we could all agree that the 4 male and 4 female versions present here have a nice selection of alts. But there's only one way to find out. Aside from the 2 default looks, the first male alt is kind of a unicorn in terms of inspirations, as the fanbase has drawn 3 possibilities, with these being Saizu and Arthur from Fates, along with the general enemy unit colors from the series. A pretty good indicator for a nice costume if there ever was one. The female orange outfit is based on Oboro from Fates. A cool looking blue one is up next for the male, being based on Chris from New Mystery of the Emblem, and the standard player unit color from the series. The pinkish purple female one up next is also pretty cool, with it being associated with the secret kingdom of Vala in the game. I also wouldn't be surprised if the hair was meant to resemble Camilla's as well. The green male alt resembles Kay's from Fates, also the ally and NPC unit colors from the series. And finally, the cool looking black alt for female Corrin resembles the color of the Nora Noble class from Fates, one that I feel makes a lot of sense. I've got to say that they did a really good job with these guys. I feel every color combination hits, and the male's inspirations in particular seem to have a lot of depth. Let's try to live up to that with some new ideas. The first new one on the male side of things is going to have blonde hair and a black and purple outfit, being based on Xander from Fire Emblem Fates, the oldest of the Nora royal siblings and a very important character to the game. Next up, the first female alt is going to be based on Azra, another major character from the game. This is going to give her a really nice white outfit with light blue hair. And I mean, if we're going to do Xander already, let's add a Ryoma alt as well for male Corrin. This is going to be brown haired with red, white, and gold accents. He's got a red look already, but I feel this looks different enough combined with the unique inspiration to justify it. And finally, we're getting an alt for female Corrin based on Baruka, one of the ally characters in the game. I chose her specifically for the color scheme with the bluish gray hair, dark purple and black combination that I think looks really cool, and I'd love to see it in Smash. And moving on to everybody's favorite character, because y'all voted for her to win the Smash Fighter palette, right? Well, maybe not. But here she is anyways, this being Bayonetta. And love her or hate her, we're gonna see that she does have a unique selection of costumes, being split between her look from Bayonetta 2 and her appearance in the original Bayonetta. The first Bayo 2 outfit is based on Princess Daisy's outfit that was present in Bayonetta 1 and 2 on the Wii U, pretty interesting. The green original outfit is based on her green alternate color in the film Bayonetta Anarchy Reigns. Then we have a red and white Bayo 2 alt, which is based on Jean, her friendly rival in the series. Next up, we have a red outfit based on her time-displaced younger self in the first game. The white alt up next is based on the dress she wears in the beginning of Bayonetta 2, and last up is an alt in the original game style, which resembles her blue alternate color in the Anarchy Reigns film. Some cool looks here with some nice inspirations, so let's make some more. The first one here is going to be in the original Bayonetta style, being white, gold, and green based on Joy from the game. Following that, our first Bayonetta 2 style costume is going to be black, purple, blue, and red based on Madama Butterfly, a demon who made a pact with Bayonetta. This would be a cool look. Back to the first style now, and we're going to get one based on Rodin, one of the most memorable characters from the game. In my video about what if every series in Smash Ultimate got a brand new fighter, Rodin was my pick for Bayonetta, and this just shows the importance. This would be a brown, black, and yellow alt mainly. And next up, we're going to get a pink alt in the Bayonetta 2 style. This one was adjusted a few times, and it's going to be based on her Peach costume. Hey, if she already has one based on Daisy, why not base one off of the main Mario Royal figure, right? It would be a nice standout coloration. As for the next characters, we're going to get to them soon, and I'd appreciate it if you let me know some ideas that you have for Smash Ultimate's episode in the comments. Since you stuck around to the very end, I'm going to give you a little tidbit here. Our next one is going to cover those included in the base game of Smash Ultimate, and we'll do DLC 1 and 2 at a later date to get these episodes out faster. Subscribe so you don't miss it, and I'll see you soon.